Hey everybody. I have no idea if this is going to work or not, but we're going to give it a try here. So I wanted to do a video to show Gail how I do the bar necklaces. And so I am here in the Creative Space Studio, the software program for xTool. So what I do to start with is I make myself a box. And if you don't know how to do that, you come over here to the insert tool and you click on rectangle and you draw out a box. And then you can come up here to the top over here and you can make it the size that you need. This box, I made it 0.24, so just a little under a quarter of an inch, and then just a hair longer than 1 1/8 inch, because that's how much space I have on the bars. So the bar necklaces, I have bought those off of Amazon. And anyway, I do have they are a little bit longer than that, but you have to allow space for the hole that's here. So anyway, this I found was a good size box. So we'll get rid of that one. So anyway, you make yourself a box. And then to put your text in here, you would come over and you click on the text where it says the T over here on the left, click on text. And it always pops up with this great big hello. And to change this, normally you like double click on it if you're in other programs and then you're able to edit it. But to do any editing to this hello, you have to actually do it in this text box. So let's say I'm going to do a bar and it's going to say granny. So I'll type in granny. Obviously, it's way bigger than what I need. So I'm going to take it down to maybe 12. And let's put it over here. Make sure, we want it to fit inside the box. If you want to, when you see it outlined like this, an outline of it, that means it's set to score. So when you click on it and you come over here to the processing type, it says score. We want it to say engrave. And then when you hit engrave, it's going to be filled in. Now, if you, again, to change the size, you come over here to the size, and I'm going to make it 14. We'll see if that still fits in there. And it does. So now another thing to note, when you're moving things around, like watch when I move Granny around, see that blue line down the middle of the box? That means I'm centered horizontally in that box. Okay. And if I wanted to change the font, I come over here to typeface. A font that I do like a lot is this Amita. And I'm going to have to raise it up a bit because that Y comes down pretty far. So sometimes that might not be the best font because, your Y is so much farther down and then it doesn't look as evenly spaced. So sometimes you got to kind of watch what your fonts are. Now, of course, you have regular. Sometimes you have the option of bold or italics. Different fonts have different options. So we'll just leave this at regular. Now, the spacing is for the actual letters. So if you wanted more space in between each letter, like if I change this to 2, see how that spaces out more? I'm going to bring it out of the box just so you can see it better. And let me zoom in. So see if I can't get rid of the layer panel. So down here on the left-hand side, you have, this is for your screen. So you can click fit on screen, or you can click the plus button and make your screen bigger like that. So hopefully you guys can see the granny here. Okay, the other thing that you have is this leading. So that would be like if you had 2 lines of text. Let's see here. We will put hello, and then we'll have another line that says granny. So hello, granny. We're going to hit engrave, and I'm going to make it smaller so it's not like right in our face there. So over here we have hello, granny. And let's say you wanted those 2 words spaced closer together. You would come over here and you would hit the negative, and we'll say 2. See how it raised up? If that wasn't enough, I could go -3 and it's closer yet. Now, if I actually wanted more space in there, I could come down and I could hit just like 4 and see now I've got space. So let's pretend like we wanted to put a heart in there. You have all these shapes over here. You have just your basic shapes, lots of them over here to choose from. And you have borders, you have plants, animals. There's not tons of graphics in here, but there are some basic ones that you may use. So let's say I wanted the heart. Oh, sorry, shape to bring out the heart. Why is it not letting me do that? Oh, there it is. Sorry. I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to fill it in because we want to engrave again. There's like my 50 million hearts that I was adding, not realizing. And so if I needed space to put the heart in there, see, I could do that. So anyway, that's kind of what that's for. Anytime you click on a word, then it's going to bring up this menu over here at the side, and you can do, these different options. Let's see what else. Oh, weld. Weld is an important one because let's see, let's get rid of this heart and let's change this font to like lobster, maybe. Okay, well, we'll see. Maybe it'll show up well enough. Okay, when you have text, let's put it on score so you can see it better. So when you have this text like this, where these letters are kind of overlapping, if you go to engrave that, it's going to engrave just like it looks there. It's going to have some overlapping stuff. So that's not really what you want. So when you have like cursive type fonts, probably what you need to do before you go to laser it is come down here and click weld. When you hit the weld, then see how it makes that just one piece there. One thing to be aware of on the weld is once you weld something, then it's no longer a font. So see now when I'm clicking on this, the options to change things are not coming up because it's no longer a font. Now see like this Granny's Blessings up here in the blue, it's still considered a font. And so when I click on it, my text options show up. But these down here, I did weld them because I wanted my pray to be all joined and my rejoice and so forth. So I'm not getting the text option. Okay, so let's get rid of some of this junk. I just wanted to kind of show you some basic things here. And we'll click back on our granny and we're going to take our spacing back down to 0. So anyway, this is how I do my bars. I will make my box and then I would probably make that a little smaller actually though. And then I add in my name or whatever font that I want. I'm trying to think what else you guys might need to know. Let's see. Okay, another thing that you can do. So you see different color fonts over here. So what I did originally, let's say this has the 4 sides, like it's the bar that has the 4 sides, and you want everything like all lined up and in the same space, basically the same spot. So I could do another layer. So let's say I come over here and I click the text, and this time we're going to say Carlos. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to change that to Carlos. We're going to make it an engrave. And you can just like shrink it down, or you can use the number pad. It's whatever you want. But what I can do while I'm clicking on the word here, Carlos, I can right click and then I could change it to a color. So let's say I want to change it to red. And then let's say I know that I want this like lined up right there. So if I'm using a jig and I want to make sure it's going to line up, I can make Carlos red and put it right on top. So then what I can do is I could set this red, this Carlos to ignore. And then when I go to like Granny is on output, this line I don't want to engrave the line. That's just there for me as a guide. So as you see, I have it set to ignore. So this way I know Carlos is lined up right where Granny is. So if I just turn over to the next side, and then I'm kind of good to go. So what I would do is I would hit process. And I don't know if it's going to process because my laser's not on. Okay, so I also have First Thessalonians picked. So let me go back. So let me set that to ignore. Hopefully everything else is ignored. So now I would go to process. Hopefully just Granny shows up. I would hit start. And then after you hit start, your machine will beep. You push in that button on the side and it would start engraving. So let's say I get one side of the bar done. Granny is engraved. Then I go back. And this time what I would do is I would click on Granny and I'd hit ignore. And then I would click on Carlos and I would put it to output. So now when I go to process, Carlos is going to show up. So again, I would hit start and then I would have to hit the button on the laser and then it would do its thing. So that kind of gives you an idea, I hope, at least on the computer part of how I do this. If it's not helpful, if you guys need some more information, let me know. Gail, if you ever want to Skype and go through this, we can do that too. Let's see. One thing I will say on my settings, when I'm using the bars, I will, let me see, what are my settings? I use a power of 100. And then the speed, I take down, I have done 5, I've done 10, and I've done 3. 3 is really black and really it takes a lot longer, but it's dark. 5 looks pretty good too. That's what I started out doing 5. 10 was okay. But the slower you go, the more time it's going to take. And but you're going to get a darker, better engrave. And then I usually do 300 lines per inch. And then I would just again hit process. Now I would actually, before I hit process, I would do the framing, but that's something more I need to show you with the laser itself versus walking you through it here in the program. So anyway, I hope that helps. If not, like I said, ask me some questions. If you need to, we can always Skype or whatever and walk through this. But anyway, thank you, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.